My name is Liz Satterfield. My interests and hobbies have evolved considerably throughout my life. Initially, it was all about sports all the time. I was an avid downhill ski racer, ice hockey player, softball player, soccer player. Then I picked up rugby in college and played that as an adult, picked up hockey again. And then as I evolved into my professional life, my focus really became about balancing playing my sports, which at the time was rugby, and excelling in my career. So my fun time became my sports time and family and friends. And as I've gotten a little older and gotten married and started a family, it's changed considerably. And now it's really about family time and family memories and spending time with those that I love. I played intermissions of a Minnesota North Stars ice hockey game in 1986. I don't like ketchup. Never have, never will. And I'm scared of the dark. Night diving is one of my favorite things in the world. Go figure. I'm a bit of a gentle giant. Clumsy gentle giant. Short gentle giant. But a big presence. And a teddy bear. Sometimes more like a gummy bear. My early stage diagnosis was not traditional. I had been having mammograms regularly, but I actually found a pain in my breast getting injury work massage and chiropractic care. And then 2 weeks later, was experiencing the same sensations, and upon poking at that location for about 24 hours, discovered a lump while I was traveling, and then had to wait 48 hours until I returned home to even get anything scheduled and get in for a mammogram, to later discover that I had early stage breast cancer. So after 10 months, I completed my treatment and was cancer-free just shy of a year and a half, cancer-free. And upon learning that I was metastatic while having transfer of care scans to return back to Seattle, they also questioned whether or not I had been metastatic all along, which was really good that I didn't know that then, because I think de novo would have been emotionally challenging for me. And instead, it was a different challenge. It was a challenge of being metastatic, of recurrence. I am a 3rd-generation breast cancer survivor. My mom died of metastatic breast cancer. My grandmother was a 2-time survivor. My mom lost her 2nd battle. So cancer had always been a fear of mine. And not only did I have it, but I had it metastatically. Getting that metastatic diagnosis is heavy. In our situation, I had the fortune of being told by my breast surgeon, who was a personal friend and had led an athletic program that I had done called Team Phoenix, which was a triathlon program that brought women who had survived cancer off of the couch to complete a sprint triathlon in 14 weeks under full medical guidance and training, which was an unbelievable program. So to hear that diagnosis from her was the most comforting place that I could have heard that news. Unfortunately, she was telling us that news shortly before we were walking to a career fair where a good friend of mine, who was a local TV news host, was emceeing an event with me. And it was really not possible for me to not show up. So having to lock that down for a few hours before I even had the ability to feel it, felt safe, but it was also very challenging. After my metastatic diagnosis, I started therapy. I was still working, so that was very helpful because I was traveling quite a bit. I was working a lot, and it was a job that I loved and still miss considerably. And then that failed pretty quickly. I think I lasted about 5 months. So after multiple failed attempts of different lines of treatment, I was diagnosed with brain mets shortly before my daughter's birth, and had gamma knife radiation just prior to her birth. Luckily, she came a week late, so I had it a week before she was born. And then shortly after that, discovered that my HER2 negative cancer had mutated to HER2 positive. So that was all a lot. Had a second bout of gamma knife, few more failed lines of treatment, and today, after that roller coaster that I've been on, I stopped counting lines of treatment. I'm guessing I'm around double digits at this point. But I'm actually feeling better than I felt, and I can't remember how long. I have more energy. I'm being active. I'm really enjoying life, which is amazing. Today, where I currently stand is my Mets reside in all of the initial locations of my Mets diagnosis: my bones, my liver, my lungs, as well as my brain that came along a few years later, as well as my adrenal glands. They found some down in my ovaries when I had my ovaries and my tubes out. So I think we can safely say they are pretty much widespread. What's not on an image is probably there microscopically. And what's on an image, thankfully, is currently stable. A lot of challenge that comes with metastatic cancer. The emotional journey is a never-ending roller coaster. On a daily basis, I think about life after I'm gone. On a daily basis, I think about the people I'll leave behind, my family, my daughter, wondering when I'll get to see her grow up until, who she'll become, wishing I could see my wife live until her old age. But then I balance that out with, I'm here now. Although we have so little control on this journey, I control what I can, and that is my attitude. And every day I wake up and try and look for the best in people, in humanity, in nature. Nature's my go-to. When I'm feeling really down, I always go to nature. And if I bring my family to nature with me, then it's even better. From a resource perspective, I think I've tried the gamut at some point throughout this journey. And Team Phoenix was a big part of it. I was an active person before cancer, and to get that activity back was really important to me. There's also a lot of things that I was doing that I continue to do that a lot of cancer survivors don't necessarily believe is possible. So I continued chiropractic care, injury work massage, and I would say I do a modified yoga, but getting exercise is really important for me emotionally. As far as emotional support, I have and continue to turn to my family and friends. I I'm very fortunate that although I have a small family, I have a very large friend village, and my wife has a very large family, so we're very blessed in that aspect. And there is no greater support from early stage to today than my wife. She's been unbelievable. She doesn't always get it, but she's empathetic and she's compassionate and she wants to learn. And that's a really incredible gift that I've been given, and not something that everybody is blessed with. And I'm really fortunate for that. And as far as other types of resources, I started looking for support group resources upon my metastatic diagnosis. I actually didn't do any support group stuff when I was early stage. I think I was just so focused on the end goal of completing 10 months of treatment and being cancer-free and moving on that I was clouded by that and felt like I had enough support, and probably actually did. But when I got that metastatic diagnosis, I felt a need to find a community that I didn't have. And nearly all of my cancer friends were early stage and still early stage, which was amazing. But it didn't give me anyone like me. And started looking at different support groups and wasn't finding anyone that looked like me. I wasn't retired, I wasn't older, and I wasn't worried about my husband. And instead, I just stopped. So then I found online support groups, which was amazing. And through that, I found younger support groups for women that were diagnosed in their 40s or younger. And that gave me a community that helped me see people like me from an age perspective. Still struggling to find people that are in same-sex relationships, not only for my own support, but especially for my spouse. I feel like there's an opportunity there that we could certainly take advantage of. And I'd love to find support for those smaller communities, whether it's the men that are looking for a community that their community is smaller, or gay men looking for a community, or us lesbians or trans or whomever. It's really important to have some sense of you're going through what I'm going through, and you also seem to fit the shoes that I wear. And I think going through a battle of terminal illness is all the more reason to need to see somebody that looks like you, that thinks like you, that struggles like you. The thing I wish that the general population knew about metastatic breast cancer is how many women are living with it. And I think it's great that we're starting to see some of the public faces of Hollywood and whatnot presenting themselves as metastatic, although not always using those words. I think it's great that early stage survivors in the public eye are coming forward. And when they do present metastatic, they're often honest. But there are so many of us at all ages. And we're not all older. We're not all even out of college. Some of us haven't even had a chance to have a family. And we're living with this disease, fighting every day for a cure, for happiness, and for incredible memories. And at any point, this too could be you. And COVID's been crazy on the cancer community, just like anyone needing medical care on a regular basis. And I am really fortunate that I get my treatment at a cancer-only hospital. So me needing to go in for infusions or for scans does not require me to go into a general hospital or a general imaging center. And I've been treating myself like a frontline healthcare worker when it comes to entering the hospital or entering treatment. And then being outside of the hospital, we had the great fortune shortly before the shutdown to buy a vacation home. And we've been able to escape. It's about an hour and a half outside of the city, and in Puget Sound on an island. It's just unbelievable. Nature in every direction, big trees. And this has been an incredible refuge for us. We spend our time down in the city, we come up here, and we've been doing that back and forth since Memorial Day, which has been huge. And you know, the other things we do is use common sense. We always wear our masks. My nearly 3-year-old will make sure that she's pointing out if we're not wearing a mask, Grandma and Grandpa's not wearing a mask. And obviously keep social distance, wash our hands regularly, and just common sense. And so far, we remain COVID-free and healthy and safe. And that's exactly how we want it. I have had one telehealth visit. So actually multiple telehealth visits, one provider. So my brain radiation oncologist reviews my scans, and we do that consult over telehealth, which has been amazing because he is based in the hospital I at least would want to go to in the city. And I wouldn't want to enter that hospital. Being able to see him through telehealth has been an absolute blessing. I'm also incredibly impressed with how well he is using telehealth. Staying connected through COVID is a never-ending challenge. It is definitely messing with me. I love to travel. The fact that my passport's just sitting idle, that I'm terrified to get on a plane, even to go domestically. Those are a challenge for me, because I still have 3 states and 1 continent to get to, and I plan on doing it. Traveling is a really big thing for me, but so is face-to-face interaction. And fortunately, we have been able to provide a lot of socially distanced outdoor interaction with our friends and family, and that's been really helpful. And probably one of the most beneficial things that I've had throughout this COVID is I have a group, we call it the 9 o'clock coffee girls. It's really 7 o'clock for me because I'm not in the Midwest, with my Milwaukee girls, who are all the other people on this call. And every day there's somebody on this call. Sometimes there's 10 of us, sometimes there's 2 of us, sometimes there's 1 person wondering if someone else will show up, but there's usually about 4 or 5 of us. And knowing that I have that group, a group of women that I love to death, that I trust, that I have a forum to be real and raw, has just been incredible, and the best emotional support I ever could have been given, especially in such divisive and difficult times in our community and our society. The isolation piece, I don't feel the isolation because I don't live alone. I have a 3-year-old that is never ending energy and excitement and entertainment, and an incredible wife to share that journey with. So I don't feel the isolation, although I certainly miss seeing the people that I want to see. My family is in Texas, South Carolina, and Vermont. So what I worry about and what I fear is, will I ever see them again face to face? Will my father in his 80s make it through COVID? Will I get to see him face to face before one of us meets our demise? Will my siblings be able to come visit me and see my daughter again? So the isolation is really around that and not feeling alone. Although I certainly understand that there are people that have that. That's just not my personal challenge. I can't wait for everything to start reopening. And I really look forward to that time when it's safe. And when that happens, my hopes are to get out and see as many people that I haven't been able to see, and travel and find nature. Maybe go visit some national parks I haven't been to. And I gotta see my penguins. Antarctica is my last continent. It's a tough window to get down there. It's a small window. But the penguins are calling me, and it's time I go visit them. Growing up as an athlete and a childhood athlete, perseverance was in my DNA. And I don't recall not seeing a goal, setting a goal, generally an unrealistic goal, and then going and meeting it. And that's kind of been how I've been my whole life. In childhood, in sports, in my career. And I don't think I take cancer any differently than that. In some ways. In some ways, it's very much goal-oriented to a degree. Emotionally, you've got to be prepared for the highs and lows. And they're there. And for me, it's really important to acknowledge that and know that I can't do anything about that. But I can try and pick myself up when I feel low. I can look for things that bring me joy when I feel low. I can bring things into my life that bring me energy and make me feel good when I feel ill. And that's how I find my perseverance. Emotionally, physically, and medically.